let's go from looking like this to something like this. In all honesty, I don't think there was like a lot of difference, but it required a significant amount of makeup to even get up till here. So welcome back to my YouTube channel. As I get ready, I just wanna talk about something and do my favorite thing in the world, which is yap about all the quote-unquote mindful musings that I've had in the past week or past 2 weeks or so. I've opened my laptop in parallel because I have written about it in my last newsletter, which is also something that I'll link in the bio. In case you're a reader and not a YouTube listener, you can just go and check out the newsletter instead. But I'm just going to talk about the same thing here as well because I think it's an important message that I'd like to put across. One of the most annoying things that I do, honestly, is try to find patterns into everything. And this is something that I think a friend of mine told is called patternization, if I'm not wrong. And that basically is this, where you try to find patterns even if things are random. And it's weird to do that because at the end of the day, everyone knows that the universe is, again, random and anything can happen at any time, etc. And it all works on just probabilities. But I love finding patterns because I feel like that's a way for me to make sense for a lot of things that have happened with me over the past and that can potentially happen with me in the future. So it just is a mechanism for me to like soothe my anxiety. So one such pattern for me, which is something that I discovered only this year, has been the relationship between confidence and nervousness and how closely tied both of them are for me personally. I'll explain. This is the funniest thing in the world to me, but in the moments when I am the most nervous, in the moments when I am like my palms are sweaty, my knees are weak, I am like my heart is constantly racing and I feel like I'm gonna shit my pants, and I'm talking to all my close friends and I'm calling them and I'm saying that this is just like a really stressful situation and they're all trying to calm me down. In those situations, I end up always, so far at least, acing whatever thing that I'm about to do. So let's say if I'm about to go on the stage and give a presentation, or if I'm, getting very nervous before a job interview or whatever, right? No matter what it is, if I'm nervous before it, if I'm shitting my pants before it, it ends up going well, or it has so far ended up going very well, which is so counterintuitive. On the other funny opposite end of the spectrum, whenever I feel like I am confident, I will ace whatever is about to happen, and I am so confident in my abilities to do so. I am so proud of how far I have come, blah 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 blah. If I do all of that confident self-talk, it ends up going like crap. So confidence so far has not worked in my favor, which is insane. So whenever I felt confident, I have frozen during an interview, fumbled on stage. So I'll tell you another like embarrassing story. In my 12th, I had taken like 11th and 12th, I had taken humanities because I loved like social sciences, psychology, etc. So I wanted to take humanities and I took humanities, and I was very confident about two subjects. I was very confident about physical education for obvious reasons, and I was very confident about English, right? Because both are like comparatively easier subjects. So I was fairly confident about them. And I was, of course, shitting my pants when it came to psychology. And I was shitting my pants when it came to economics. Because again, those are the subjects I really liked. But those were slightly more difficult to grasp. And I ended up scoring the most in economics and psychology and the least in English and physical education. I don't know. I don't know why that happened and how that happened. So me being me and me being someone who quote unquote tries to draw patterns in random situations, felt that it's maybe the best if I am nervous before a situation because that's working in my favor, so why not? And that of course resulted in like a mental health hit because whenever there was even something that was slightly important to me, I was just nervous to my wits. I was just so worried that I'm just gonna mess things up, etc. And me being me, I started to knowingly or unknowingly invite a lot of anxiety, because anxiety was working in my favor. If I am very anxious before something, it was working in my favor. So I was like, you know what, might as well. And that I just started to embody a lot of that anxiety, which was again a really, really crappy thing to do. Terrible advice. Please don't ever follow it. Also, I like how the green looks on my eyes. Anyway, so when I could not take this mental health hit anymore for very obvious reasons, I was just so drained and burnt out just because of my emotions. I ended up decoding it and ended up like sitting with it, journaling it, trying to talk about it in therapy, etc., etc. And I decoded it, and what I've decoded is pretty straightforward, but it was so mind-bending for me personally. So when I'm frightened, I do one thing very well. I over prepare. As someone who has also suffered through anxiety since a very long time, since before I knew what anxiety was, honestly. So for obvious reasons, I'm very used to just having a lot of preparation regarding the worst case scenario. My mind knows all of the worst case scenarios that can happen to me in a stressful situation, and it has prepared for all of it when I'm anxious or nervous. So I might not feel confident when I'm nervous, but I have thought about every possible scenario. I have gone through the material a countless times. I have just really put in the work, and this of course leaves very less room for complacency. And on the other hand, when I'm like slightly more carefree, I inflate my abilities to do something, even if it's the ability to like give an English or a physical education exam. I have inflated my abilities to ace it, and hence I may slack a little bit because I think I can do it, which I of course can, because it's still scored decent, but not as exceptional as I thought I would do. So what I'm trying to say is that I am more confident when I'm nervous. Yes, I know how that sounds. Yes, I know it sounds very stupid, but yes, it is extremely true for me in the cases that I've faced so far. I feel like it's because my nerves kind of make me feel that I really care about something. If I'm really nervous, it just means that I really, really, really want something to work out well. And when I'm not as nervous, it kind of feels that I don't care about it a lot. I don't know, my body has not been able to draw that distinction very well so far. And that's something that I really want to do, like going forward. I want to have like a healthy middle ground between the two, because again, also being nervous is not, like being nervous to an extreme degree is also not healthy for me and my mental health. So I'm now learning to blend my inclination towards nervousness with an outward confidence, something that outwardly also feels like I have got this when I have got this. I think what I've realized with time is also that anxiety is not necessarily a bad neighbor to have sometimes, and when it's knocking on the door, it can just mean that you care a fair bit about something, and that is seldom a bad thing. That is it. I am ready, and this is it for my gyan. This is it for the mindful musing that I had. I will link some stuff of mine in the description. Feel free to go through it. This is a quick reminder to subscribe in case there's any thought that you related with, anything that felt like something you might like, or something that you might have faced in the past. Anything basically. If you think that this is a thought that you want to keep close to you, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for being here. You're very, very kind to be here. I hope you also learn to strike a middle ground between nervousness and the outward confidence, because both of them have their own place. I am still very new to that journey, so I will try to record more of the things that I've learned. But again, thank you for being here. I'm very grateful to you. Have the best new year ahead, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.